smoke. Southern skies, the throttles choke. Fast and fierce, racing souls, tearing through the endless cold. Twisted metal, thunder growls, screams of tires, dirt that scowls. Cranking loud, boys, let it blast. Roads of fury racing fast. Southern pride racing hours here. Fuel the fire, shift the gear. Every lap a rebel's dream. Gasoline, hearts and the scream. Dave and Dean crown the track. Each corner fight, ain't turning back. Crank it loud, boys, let it blast. Roads of fury racing fast. Southern pride racing hours here. Fuel the fire, shift the gear. Nights alive, wheels embrace. Burn the streets, set the pace. Hours, speed's the creed. Southern fried racing breed. Southern fried racing hours here. Fuel the fire, shift the gear. Nights alive, wheels embrace. Burn the streets, set the pace. Hours, speed's the creed. Southern fried racing breed. I know.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Welcome to the show again. A rare Tuesday. We don't always do that, but we are excited to do that. We've been adding extra shows in.
Yeah, we have.
I'm Dave. This is Dean. We got Miss Jessica Power with us. We're going to talk to her in just a moment. Just want to say thank you to all the followers across Rumble and X and YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. Who'd I miss? Twitch and Kick. We appreciate that. Then later it will go out to our MP3 sites. We're not running Podbean tonight because we have a guest. They wouldn't hear the guest, so we will add that up as a upload later tonight into Podbean, which will feed a lot of other MP3 sites and also other sites that we can't go live to that will load this too. So we appreciate you and all the people that have been supporting the racing hour and all things dirt track and dig. This really started, Dean. NASCAR ended. We were looking for something to fill some time.
Yeah.
And I said, let's do history of tracks and let's get into the dirt. So it's all worked out, and now we're just we're addicted to it.
We are
loving it. Dean was always a dirt track guy, and
yes.
we've had so many people tell us how much they love the dirt, and some are still with it, some are not. We're trying to encourage that. We want to keep the tracks going. We want them to increase their attendance. And we want to this to explode. It's a great family sport, and we're discovering that more and more. We had this special guest last night, Mr. Sean Martin, and he was just amazing.
Yeah, we were.
But we have the better half tonight.
Yeah.
We have Miss Jessica Power, and he's there in the background moving around. But we appreciate you, Jessica, for being here. And Jessica Power Racing, and you are in Canada tonight as we speak, and we appreciate you talking across the border with us. So how are you doing tonight? Can you hear me? We lost her. Miss Jessica. Can you hear us?
I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or not. I can't hear. You can hear me, and I can't hear you guys.
Uh-oh.
I had no problem earlier. I didn't change a thing. Let me see if I can find anything.
Okay.
Try again. Can you still hear me? I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
If you have to, just go out and come back in if you can see that. Or
why don't I leave and rejoin?
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
We'll get her back. We were all talking right before we went to song, and after song we lost her. So
right.
It's probably just one of those things as the Wi-Fi and everything.
Yeah.
So they sometimes they lose a little bit of that.
Right.
And it's probably just one of those weird things. Well, I was talking to you one night.
Yeah.
And you couldn't hear me, or so we'll try to get her back up. Real quick, let's talk about Dean's Vault right here. While we got some time, and show us what you got tonight, Dean.
Okay.
This is from the Vault of Dean. You know, it's like a
Chase Elliott car.
No,
Casey Kane.
Casey Kane. Look at him. He's so Chase Elliott. He's just so excited about that. But that's from the Vault.
Yes.
So how long have you had that?
Oh Lord, I've had about, I'd say maybe 10 years.
10 years, and then we have Bill Elliott.
Yes.
Bill Elliott
Yes.
is you like
Number 9 Dodge.
Number 9 Dodge. Yeah, that's better right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's pull Miss Jessica back up and see if she can hear us now. Can you hear us?
I sure can. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
We played the song and it went crazy, so who knows? We'll blame it on that. Anyway, we were just saying how much excuse me, that we have people have been told us how much they are excited about the dirt and how much they used to go. We want to get that not being used to, but going. Right. And last night we had your wonderful Sean Martin there, and he just did a great job.
He did.
And but now tonight we've got the driver. We've got the one behind the pedal to the metal, and he has to fix, keep you on the track, and so you can keep on racing. And I love this. It's the first time we've had this, and we appreciate that. Again, let's make sure, because I know that, and I did put it out on the socials, and we'll continue to put that out there. Let's make sure we get your sponsors, your partners, and all this. Let's make sure we mention those folks. Let's do that right off the top, because those people are special. If you don't mind, just run through that, and then we're gonna let you just talk about your career and what all's going on.
Yeah.
Let's get them sponsors taken care of.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's really the most important part, right? We wouldn't be able to do this amazing sport and all the things that we are able to accomplish without them. So Green Shield Pest Control has been with us for a long time. Genic, Mobile One, Speedy Auto Service, HP Speed, Ibach, Velocita, Bilstein Shocks, huge supporters. Strange Oval, Bicknells, Dash Lawn Care, Barron's, Kirky Seats, Spa Fire Bottles, SRI, huge supporting partner of ours, Shocker Hitch, 5-Star Bodies and MD3, Hardington Equipment, Primal Tees, Burt Transmissions, Soprano Truck Strap, WD-40, M2 Metals, GB Carburation. I'm new this year, actually. We have a couple of new sponsors, Quick Car this year, Ken Unger Dashes, and we also have a couple of new sponsors that we'll be announcing in the coming weeks. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but we're just really excited and so appreciative of all the support that they give us, whether it's financial support, information. Carson Floyd has been a huge supporter as well. He's down in your neck of the woods. He races down there. We met him at Charlotte last year, and he's really been integral helping us get to Alltech in a couple of weeks. So again, we couldn't do it without all of their support and all the different forms of support, right? People think sponsorship and they instantly think, oh, it's got to be financial. It's not all financial, right? We need products. We need, marketing support. There's all sorts of ways that people can get involved, and we appreciate all of them a lot.
Absolutely. And I was going through the list, and I don't want to pick anybody out, but I am going to pick one. And I thought it was so cool that you have WD-40. That's a product that I have used my whole life.
I have to.
And I've never raced. So some of those great sponsors and partners with you, I may or may not have used them, but WD-40, I think we probably all.
Yes.
That is so recognizable. And thank you to all the sponsors for what they do. And listen, it is a partnership. They're helping you to stay on that track, and people are seeing those sponsors as you are on the road or as you're at a track or whatever, and that's just cool stuff.
And Mobile One, don't forget
Mobile One. Yeah, we were like, they got Mobile One. That was so cool.
I think Sean was talking about it last night with you guys, but it's the Canadian arm, I guess, of Mobile One, and David is such a huge supporter of grassroots motorsports of all kinds, and we met him on a whim at a car show several years ago up in Canada, and he has just been such a an amazing supporter of our team and of all forms of motorsports, and just a genuinely great person. He is so amazing to have around. He's so supportive and kind, and that's the sort of partnership we're looking for, is to not only partner from a business standpoint, but also friends, right? We've made some lifelong friends with a lot of our sponsors.
Good.
And that's what that's what it's all about. It's we can help each other, and we should do
Yeah.
that. Business helping business, and one of the things about our podcast has always been we wanted to cater to especially those sometimes they're small startups. They're businesses that are fighting every day just for survival. Not that all are not, because they are, but letting people that because running a business is like you're running something. It's a full-time thing. It's not just something you just pick up, on a Saturday. Every day you're having to work that part of that. And like, maybe you work a regular job. Some work regular jobs and they're doing this and they're running a lot of hours a day. I have great respect for that, because you have to put it's a passion, but it's also a lot of work, and it's very tiring. And there's times it's like a lot of things, when you don't feel good, you got to keep going. It's not,
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. It's a hobby, something we enjoy, but it is another full-time job. There's so much time spent in the shop, traveling to the racetrack, racing. I think a lot of people look and say, "Oh yeah, you get the glory of a few hours on race night, and win or lose, you've had some fun and you can go home or drink a beer or whatever." But it's so much more than that to be competitive and to be at the top of your game. So it's
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, take us in the Wayback Time Machine, and well, not that far back, because you're a young lady, but
Well,
take us back, however that time is. Let me not put my foot in my mouth.
no, that's all right. That's all right.
Who got you interested in this racing thing? Where did that come from?
It's a funny story. And it's the first story that people ask. I think a lot of people assume that my family raced, my dad raced, or brothers or whatever. I'm an only child and no one in my family ever raced. So it was all me. But my grandmother is from a small town near where we live now. And she grew up there, really small community. Everyone knew everyone. And we were out one day and she met, there was a little roadside farm stand that she stopped at, and this farm stand originated from her hometown, and she got talking to the young man that was running the farm stand, and she's a chatterbox, so she made friends with this young fella, and she said, "Oh well, I have to bring my granddaughter to meet you." And of course the guy, thinking, "Oh my goodness, what disaster of a young lady is going to show up that her grandmother has to set her up on dates and whatnot." And likewise, she came home and told me, "Oh, I need to take you to this farm stand to meet this young boy." So neither of us had high hopes, I will say that. But she tricked me actually one day into going, and she picked me up and drove me over. I didn't even have my driver's license. So we went over and met, and of course, we both kind of laughed and told each other the story years later. But he invited me to come. He raced at a local speedway, and he invited me to come watch him race. And I was 15 years old, and my parents said, "There's no way you're going with a stranger an hour's drive away at night to watch, this thing." So they came with me, and we just had a blast. We became good friends with the guy that raced and his family, and spent a lot of time helping and learning on their car. And a little over a year later, we decided, we'd give it a go ourselves. So my dad's been in the automotive industry his whole life. He's been a mechanic for a long time. So we had some knowledge and some resources here in our hometown. So we got a car from the local wrecking yard and stripped it all out in our driveway at home. And he and I built the cage and got it all ready to race, and off we went. So it's truly been a family affair from the very beginning for us. So we started out there's 100 different names for them: four cylinders, mini stocks, hobby stocks, whatever the local track wants to call them, but a little, the Honda Civics, the little 4-cylinder street cars that you strip down and put a cage in and take them to the racetrack. So that's where we started. In '04 was my first race, and then '05 was my first year of full-time competition. We did that for a few years. And then we jumped right into sportsman, the class that we're in now. So we have been in this class, a long time, but technology changes and there's advancements all the time. So it's not like we're doing the same thing year after year. We've seen a lot of change, but we're still having a great time, loving it. The class itself, it races at a lot of tracks around us in our area. So we have the opportunity to go almost anywhere on a weekend to race that we want to. And that's really, what we love. We had a big block for a little over a year and we sold it because there was really no great opportunities for us to race on a weekly basis close to home. So we're happy in the sportsman class. We could move up to the next class, the 358s, but it's all about the cost of the engines themselves, and it's a big jump for us. So we're thrilled to be doing what we're doing, and someday we'd love to move up, and if that day was tomorrow, that would be fine, but it's just not in the cards right now for us. So we're good, and it's remained a family affair for us. It started with me and my mom and dad, and we met Sean. I'm not sure how long ago now, almost 20 years ago, probably now, at a racetrack, and he was with another team. And, they had their disagreements over the years, and eventually they sort of separated and went their own ways. And he and I started hanging out a little bit more, and here we are 15 or 16 years later.
Yeah, you just won him over. There's nobody can compare to you. So
Right.
that was easy. Yeah, he's like,
right.
forget the rest. I got the best. So,
Right.
That's right.
Sometime we'll see.
Yeah.
What a great. I like the way you. I was just having this, and I have no idea what it looked like. But when you talked about the car and you and your dad breaking that down in the driveway. What a great memory that you have of that. What does that mean for you to have that type of relationship with your dad and your mom? But what does that mean as you go forward? I mean, because a lot of people don't have great relationships with their family, and you have that. You have this. You said family several times, and what does that mean for you beyond racing? What does that mean for you?
That really means everything to me, right? I wouldn't. I talk to lots of folks that I work with and friends outside of racing, and they say, wow, you spend a lot of time with your family. Because I think, as people age and things change in life, they just naturally drift apart. But I'm just so thankful that I've had the opportunity to continue to be so close with my family. Like I said earlier, as an only child, I don't have siblings to share with. So I'm thankful that I can spend so much time with my family, my racing family and my blood family. It's something special. We have so many great memories together. And I wouldn't trade any of it for anything. To have that time with my dad, he taught me everything I know, and some days it's questionable and we have arguments about things, because now I certainly don't think I know more than him, but sometimes I think I know better, much to his chagrin. But we have sometimes really insightful conversations, because he's taught me so much, and I just I can't even put into words how grateful I am for that.
That's amazing.
I'm already tired myself.
Yeah. When you first started racing, were there a lot of teams that welcomed you in, or was there particular ones that just really reached out and made you feel a part of that family of racing?
We've had a lot of support in terms of asking questions and information over the years. I wouldn't say there's necessarily one specific team that stood out. I would say broadly, the racing family and the racing community, for the most part, has been so welcoming, and happy to share, right? Share experiences, sometimes share information, and so open to answering questions. And I always try and pay that forward, right? I've had a lot of experience over the years. I've been doing this a long time. So when young drivers come and ask me questions, I always try and make the time and help them out and
Good,
give them not only, if it's setup information or a question about a tire or something, but give them insight and feedback on, I remember those days. I remember when, you're younger and a little hot under the collar maybe, but what does it mean? What does that look like? Next week, there's always, you always got to be thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead, if not more. So always keep at it.
Absolutely. Real quick, thank you for the Raid My Journey 4K on Rumble. We appreciate that. First time I don't know that I've been to your channel, but we'll reciprocate when we see you on.
Right.
Hello, Jake from the great state of Mississippi, who likes racing, I believe, some, and we appreciate everybody else that's coming in as people are seeing the show on. And this will obviously be out on the sites and re-air, and we'll re-air it as a live pre-recorded video.
Right.
We'll put that out several more times. We do all that with the interviews. So thank all of you for coming in. We have Miss Jessica Power with Miss Jessica Power Racing, and just loving this sport and loving the family aspect of it and everything. So last night we talked a lot about the car, the setups, this cost, which I was so amazed at the cost of going across the border. Had no idea of what that meant being in Canada, when you have to cross over and what fuel is. Not that really just was amazing to me and Dean. I think both.
Yes.
We never thought about some of that stuff.
I didn't either. No.
And so I appreciate that insight. Now we're going to move inside the car.
Right.
Right.
And get your perspective of, what is for us that, for those that haven't raced and, give us a sense of this type of racing, like how many laps is it? Do you race more than once on a weekend and things like that? People may not know this particular type, and let's introduce them to it. So you give them that driver perspective on that.
Absolutely. So we're very fortunate. There are many, many tracks within a couple of hours drive of our home. So for us, an hour's drive to the track is an easy night. I know lots of folks have tracks that are 10 or 15 minutes from home, which would be just incredible. We're not in that position, but we do have, I would say, probably 15 more tracks within 2 to 3 hours travel time. So, we're thankful for all that different opportunity, but we do like to follow point series. So we kind of dedicate ourselves to certain tracks during the season to make sure we keep our points showing up. But we choose to race Friday nights and Saturday nights on a full-time basis. Because of weather and various factors, our seasons usually start up here mid to late April, and things wrap up usually right around early September for the weekly shows. But then we have all sorts of touring series and things that happen after that, out until the fall. Later in the falls, actually the end of October is the end for us. But we choose to race those 2 nights, Friday night and then Saturday night. We could race Sunday night, we could race Thursday night, but we all have full-time jobs aside from racing. So we got to balance it out, both for the crew. We do get tired by the end of the season, and financially, right? Running that much is quite expensive. I know you talked about tire wear and everything last night, and at $500 a tire, it's hard to keep up doing that 2, 3, 4 nights a week. So we do choose to race Friday night and Saturday night, and we do follow the Dirt Car Northeast Touring Sportsman Series. So that is typically, there's about 4 or 5 regional races that are in our area, and then there's a larger championship series, which is about 8 races kind of after that fall, the 1st of September, Labor Day. Most of the racing happens after that for that championship series. But our feature, our nightly racing consists of usually what we call hot laps or warm-up laps. If it's a series race, those will be timed. So our time will qualify us for our heat race. So after we've done our hot laps or our timed hot laps, we'll go into an 8-lap heat race. That's pretty consistent. Almost everywhere we go, it's an 8-lap heat race, or sometimes they're called qualifiers in different areas. And then if there's a certain number of cars, there could be, there's many names for them. There's B mains, last chance showdowns, consolation races, whatever you want to call it. If you don't make it in through the heat, you go to that race to qualify. Fortunately, our weekly shows don't usually involve any last chance or B mains or consolations. We usually have less than a 30 car field, between 25 and 30 cars. So they'll start everyone. So those would be 10 laps if we had those. And then our features, they vary in length. Your regular weekly show is usually 25 laps. Our special touring shows are anywhere from 40 laps up to 75, and we do have a couple of special shows that are 100 laps. So it's they can be long, but usually 25 laps flies by. And it's, so in total on I'll say an average night, we would get 25, 8, probably 30, between 35 and 40 laps, depending on how much practice we get. So it's a good number of laps each night, and we do get breaks, right? We're not strapped in the car the whole time, which is good.
Yeah.
Some people ask me that question too. We do get in and out, which I'm thankful for on those really hot nights in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. When you if you had to do the consolation, last chance, does that get a little heated? I mean, somebody's trying to get in,
They can all get heated.
Well,
I've seen things heated in timed hot laps, but it certainly can, right? Everybody wants to make the show, so that last transfer spot can always be a little bit dicey, even if you're. So I've seen both. I've seen way up front leading and people want to take you out even though they're qualified. I've seen people racing for 20th when they qualify 2 cars and still want to beat on each other. It just depends on the day.
awesome. I've got a quick question. Are you on YouTube? Someone is asking if you're on YouTube.
Yes, we're not super active on YouTube, but Jessica Power Racing does have a YouTube channel.
Okay. Thank you, Jake, for the
Thank you.
the question. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
The first win, everybody, we always talk about it. I know you probably get questioned about it a bunch of times, but hey, you got to start somewhere. And I know you've won. So that first win, tell us about that? And how long have you been racing when that happened? And take us, how that felt for your first time, the first time to win a race.
So the first time that I won a race would have been in my 4-cylinder or hobby stock days. And it was my first full season. So it would have been 2005. And I think it was about the 4th or 5th night in. So I was pretty fortunate that I won really early in my career. It's been a few years. I won't get into how many. It's been a few years since then. So some of the details are a little fuzzier than they used to be. But I remember it being surreal, right? I had seen people win lots and I understood, you had to go to the scales and then you had to pull out on the front stretch and go to a designated spot. But I was like a lost puppy. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, which way to turn, which way to look. It was just overwhelming, right? The emotions, the joy, obviously, from myself and my family that I had won, and the excitement. The crowd was really excited, first time winner, all that. So it was a surreal and also overwhelming experience for sure.
I can imagine. I'm a person who always likes to know exactly where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there, like that.
That's me.
To get in a chaotic situation like that would drive me crazy. The stress level would go up because I just want to be where I don't want somebody to go, hey, you're supposed to be over here. I want to know where I'm supposed to be,
That's me.
Yeah,
me too.
Exactly. Right. There is almost an X that marks a spot on the racetrack. How did you not figure it out?
I was watching one of the videos you may have seen. I don't know which race it was from. It's just in the last couple of days. And somebody parked in the wrong area and they got into a heated argument or something. I don't think it got physical, but it was verbal and they were not, you're in the wrong place, So, you just don't want to,
Right.
It's like the old song, signs everywhere, signs.
Yeah,
You can lose that. I mean, it's like, okay, I didn't see that. I didn't know that I was supposed to be there, I've never won, so I'll know from now on,
It's funny. Usually now we have radios, obviously, from the tower, and they'll come on and direct us, right? If they know it's a track you're not familiar with or you're not a new procedure or whatever, they'll come on and tell you where to head, go this way, that way, around this barrier or whatever. So it's always interesting even just to listen. Sometimes I'm rolling across the scales, I finished second or third, and I can hear them telling the person that won how they need to get to victory lane. And inside I chuckle a little bit because I remember the first time I won, and then just again having that deer in the headlights, where am I supposed to go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and at least, I mean, there was that, but at least you didn't lose it. We've talked to people that they were disqualified on their first win because they didn't know of a rule or something, because they were
Yeah.
they were real new at it and they didn't
Yeah.
know. And that first win, it got pulled from them. So at least that didn't happen to you. You actually got to stay the winner.
Yes, exactly. I'm thankful for that.
So have you failed a pre-race inspection or a post-race or anything like that in your career? And not that that's fun to even talk about,
No.
but what do you learn from that? I mean, what, like the first time you were like, wait a minute, we were legal.
Exactly. So we don't have a lot of pre-race inspection. There's only 1 or 2 races a year where they do pre-race inspection. And if you fail, it's not really a big deal. You go back to your trailer, you fix whatever it was, and you go back through inspection. And the inspection, a pre-race inspection for us is more about safety concerns, right? Are your belts in date? Is your fire bottle up to snuff? All of those things that are a main concern, which is great. But I did just one time in my career, fail post-race inspection, and it was weight. I was light at the scales. I was 3 pounds light.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
At a track that I raced at every week. I'd crossed the scales many times and been fine. And we don't play that whole weight game where we want to be just on the razor's edge. I want to make sure. I don't want to be worried about it. I want to make sure. So when we set our cars up for the first time every season, we will make sure it is empty of all fuel. It has the oldest, baldest tires we can imagine, and we scale it that way. And we make sure that we make that minimum weight in our shop with no fuel and no good tires on the car. And we did that same thing, but the track scales rule all, right? So it doesn't matter what you weigh at home, you have to make weight at the racetrack. So one time I did fail. There was some heated discussion following that, but we took our lumps and went home. And the very next week, the person that won or finished very high up in the modified race also was light. And the irony of it was the person that owned the racetrack also owned that car. So they disqualified him. I was thankful that it was, what was good for one was good for the other. But the next week they had the scales calibrated, and all of a sudden I was back to being 15 pounds heavy.
Oh.
So, you know what? I was disqualified. It doesn't matter. That's the ruling. But I wasn't really light. It was actually it was one of the further drives. It was about a 2.5 hour drive home from that track for us. And we got home at about 2:30 in the morning. And I said, I am unloading the car and I'm scaling it because I want to know if I'm light. Not that it matters, but for my own peace of mind.
I can see me being the same way, just because you want that peace of mind to know you didn't miss it. You knew you were right. Just something went, wrong somewhere else. And so, but at least it was only once,
That's right. Exactly.
When you're out there racing and other drivers see a woman out there racing, did they kind of put you in a wall thinking, oh, she's a woman driver, she can't drive good?
When I first started, there were some dicey moments for sure. There was not a lot of respect. And when I started, there were far fewer females racing, so it was definitely the exception and not the rule. So it was a tough go for me for the first little while, and I think, it taught me to be resilient, and it taught me to be, pretty thick-skinned and tough, and I have broad shoulders. I can take a lot. So I think if anything, I'm actually thankful that it started out that way, but I think I've more than earned the respect of competitors. I don't find anymore, nobody really gives me a problem because I'm a woman. They'll give me a problem because I'm a tough competitor or they don't like something, but it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a woman. I work on my car just as hard as my team. And I'm certainly not judging women that don't, but the people that I compete with see me under the car, changing things, buffing tires, doing all the stuff. So I think that warrants a little bit of respect from them. So
sure, absolutely. Jake had a question. We talked a little bit about the cost difference, but are there other differences between tracks in Canada and tracks in the U.S., this could be, I guess, different rules, or is it generally the same? Is there anything that stands out?
I can't think of anything in particular that stands out as a difference between Canadian tracks and tracks in the US. The cost, like you said, the cost would be different just in terms of, I'm sure probably pit passes. There's a little bit of a difference with the exchange rate. But generally speaking, no, the way the facilities are run, the way they operate, most of the tracks we go to follow the same procedural rules. So for
Yeah.
us, it's as racers and even as fans, you'd get a really similar experience whether you went to a track in New York State or here in Canada, or probably I would think even Pennsylvania or even in Georgia.
Awesome. Jake also asked, do you have any, idol may not be the right word, but people you looked up to in racing as before you even came up into racing, or even now, is there someone that you just admire how they race or how they carry themselves or whatever it is? Is there someone like that?
So it's funny, when I started racing, I had very little exposure to racing as a sport. I'd heard of NASCAR and I watched the occasional Sunday, but I was not at all familiar with dirt racing at all. So I didn't grow up watching someone and, really become a fan of anyone until I started racing myself. But there were certainly some folks locally that helped. Danny O'Brien was a big modified racer. That's who Sean worked for years. And he was always really just involved, and he was always at the track, and he was really open to helping and providing advice and guidance. So I was always really thankful for that. Again, I didn't have a lot of exposure, so I didn't have a lot of time to really get to know people. But I do remember when I started racing at Brockville, Jessica, then Zemkin, and now Friesen, married to Stuart Friesen, was racing a modified at the track that I was racing at. So I remember thinking, wow, we were a similar age, and she'd obviously been around racing her whole life, and I thought, wow, she can do it, of course I can do it. So I guess in that regard, I looked up to other women in the sport. Now I'm not sure that there's one person that I watch or cheer for. I think I'm always drawn to drivers that are well spoken and represent the sport well, right?
Yes.
People that work hard and understand what it takes and are really honest and forthcoming during interviews, right? And I get there's a level of sometimes there's a level of grit that you want to have in an interview. Sometimes you need to be a little more polished. But people that just represent the sport well and want to see it grow, right? You want to involve the next generation, get your kids involved or your friends' kids, or go to local events that help grow understanding and knowledge of the sport and really keep building that fan base.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I wanted to kind of segue that anyway. Over your time of racing, and you've had a long career already, and it's going to hopefully go a lot longer. Uh, where do you see where do you see the sport at right now? Are have we slipped? Are we about the same? Are we growing? Is that talent still coming along? That and we talked about with Sean a little bit, but from your perspective as a driver, you know, is the future looking bright, or we have challenges ahead to keep that competitive, the competition, the tracks open? From your, I'm not telling you, you don't know, obviously know how everybody's making money or anything, but just what you're seeing, what's your sense? Where are we at with the sport?
I see, and of course, this is going to be different for every region. It's probably different where you are versus where we are,
Yes.
and different types of racing. But I I have a bit of a concern, right? I think that as the years go on and we're in a much more digital age and younger generations aren't necessarily engaging in activities like motorsports, I worry that that next wave, that next generation of racers is just not, the cup doesn't keep filling. I think it's emptying faster than it's filling. And iRacing's great because it allows more
Right.
people and different folks to enjoy the sport and engage with it. But if I think about making it to a racetrack and watching and having your hands on a car, unfortunately, in my view, I think it is starting to fade a little bit. And of course, you know, the economy's not great right now.
Right,
Hopefully
yeah.
that turns around, but that certainly has an impact on it as a whole because people just can't afford to do it as well.
And
Well,
are,
go ahead.
and are the tracks you've been to, what's your favorite track?
Ooh, that's not even a tough question. It used to be a tough question. Charlotte. The dirt
Yeah.
track at Charlotte is by far my favorite, not just because I won there, but it's always been, it's a great facility. They do an amazing job. The one opportunity we have to race there each year is always such a well done and well organized show. We get to see representation from all sorts of different areas of dirt track racing, and really just enjoy ourselves. And it does help that it's typically warmer and sunnier than it is here.
Mm,
Yeah, absolutely. When you were talking about the young people in iRacing, and that's definitely become a thing, is the sport overall, are they doing anything to engage kids to have something that they can do? We talk to, racing and ministry, and they try to create tables and stuff and interest on a ministry level and crafts and things like that. But is there anything that's engaging young people at the track to kind of nurture that, get them excited about it, whether it's mentorship by a driver or anything like that?
Um, Locally, I'll say there's not as much as maybe there could be, but I will say that we actually had an opportunity to take part in the STEAM program at the Charlotte Speedway. So they run that out of the drag strip office, but they have hundreds of kids through there weekly
Awesome.
from all the local area schools. They bring them in and they help them understand, to have a career in motorsports, it doesn't just mean you have to drive the race car, right? There is almost any career you can imagine. They said, you can, obviously you have your drivers, but you would have fitness coaches, you would have chefs that prepare the team meals, mechanics, engineers, artists, graphic designers, media, all of the different skill sets. It used to be very much, you were a mechanic or you drove the car, but motorsports has so many different facets to it now that you can have a career in motorsports and be a graphic designer or be a
mhm.
world-class chef. So it's a really great program to help build that knowledge and understanding of the sport. They are arguably in the heart of racing territory
Yeah.
in Charlotte or Concord, so that's a leg up for them for sure. And we do see the occasional program here. We actually took our car to a local trades fair, I guess, a few weeks ago. So when high school aged kids are thinking about what's after this, college or a career, the trades are often a really big thing: mechanic, electrician, carpenter, whatever it might be. So we actually brought our car and put it on display so people could see, again, what kind of career could you have? It's not
Yeah.
necessarily that you have to be a mechanic in an auto shop. You could be, I think we counted up, I think there's about 4 or 5 different trades that you could do and work on a race car. So it was interesting to see students and kids engage in a different way outside of the racetrack. But yeah, I think we can always do more. And whenever possible, we like to do raffles and giveaways. Sometimes we'll get blocks of tickets from our local track and do giveaways at local school groups. We did an event with a robotics club a few years ago and
Oh,
got all the
wow.
kids tickets, and they brought a bus and they came. So again, just getting people out to the track and getting them
Good.
involved, because
Good.
if we get the kids to come, usually the parents have to come with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So we try and get everybody interested and really create that fun family atmosphere that makes them say, let's go back next weekend. We had a really great time. We want to keep going. We want to
Great.
keep encouraging and supporting.
Great.
Yeah, and I think in our industry, the young kids, they come in, they're looking at robotics. You mentioned that, and
Yes.
they're excited about those things. Well, there are things within racing that are, new technologies and stuff.
Right.
So there's all kinds of things that they could get involved with. That's a great point. And getting those school kids out and just exposing them to that, there's going to be some kids that are going to be really drawn to that.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to impress them, and something. It could be the smell of the fuel. Who knows?
Right.
You know?
That's right.
I know guys that tell me they do drag strip and they just love this. They say, I love that diesel, I just want to smell the fuel, as it's burning off. And, whatever it is, there's something about it that touches it. May not get every one, but you got it. We have to rebuild. We have to.
Right.
You mentioned here a couple of the drivers we had on just a couple of weeks ago. They mentioned we need more talent. We have got to get more talent in our sport if we're going to continue. And so there's concern here for that. Track closures, but there's also been a couple of tracks open, and so we're going to try to cover it from that perspective this year in our region. And if we venture out, we'll look at those. But we're trying to connect the tracks. We want to help them too.
Yeah.
If there's advertising we can do or anything, we're trying to pass along anything we can. It doesn't matter what area, and just try to help these tracks get the information out there.
Do you have merchandise on your website? People can order shirts or t-shirts or hats.
So we do have merchandise. It is actually through Primal Tees. So I will repost a link on my site as well as on my social media. Facebook's usually our strongest social media platform. So you can order t-shirts, hoodies. We don't have any hats on there just yet, but they supply all of our awesome merchandise. We just had new shirts done after our win in Charlotte with some really cool graphics on them, the trophies and everything. So lots of that stuff available online for anyone interested.
Awesome. I'm challenging myself. Anyone that comes on the show, I'm going to buy some kind of merchandise. I'm working through that right now. I'm big on hats, shirts, anything like that. So, we're definitely going to try to do that. This is Mom Potts here, by the way. Her comment says, "This was so interesting. She's a great interviewer. You are doing a great job. The interviews are so interesting. Keep up the amazing work. We appreciate that."
Thanks, Mom. Thank you.
we love Mom.
That's my mom right there.
Thank you for that. I was thinking back to the food. My brain is so spastic. And you were talking about chefs and all this stuff. And we were talking to Sean about cooking, and he was, all of that.
Right.
But I didn't think about this last night. But as you're crossing from Canada into the U.S., is there something that we have here that you love to eat that's not available back home? And you go, while we're down there, I've got to go to that Whataburger or whatever it is. Is there something like that?
There's probably a lot of them. A lot of different places that we just don't have up here. So it's interesting. There are some foods that we can't cross the border with. You can't cross the border with fresh meat or fresh fruits and vegetables. So we always have to go grocery shopping when we get down there, which is fine. We do love to eat.
I do too.
There's lots of just, I'll say, regular things that you probably don't even think of that you have that we don't. And likewise, I think there's some things that we have that you don't. But in terms of restaurants, Chick-fil-A is a big one for us. We do like a good bout of Chick-fil-A. We don't have Texas Steakhouse. We have one of those fairly close, but across the border. Bojangles, when we come down to North Carolina, we love good barbecue.
Yeah.
Any good barbecue or some Bojangles. But yeah, that's usually one of the highlights of crossing the border is what do we get to eat this week that we don't get at home.
Well, and then we have the second problem is how do you get everybody in agreement on where to go? Because having a family, I could never get my wife and kids. Everybody wanted a different place. So how do y'all decide that? Flip a coin, or who wins out that argument?
We're actually pretty lucky for the most part. We're all in the mood. We're all pretty good with any of those, 4 or 5 different options on any given day. Most everybody's in agreement. It's usually not a fight about that. So that's good.
That's good.
That is good, but I didn't think about it. But I knew people that they go to a place and they try to come back with stuff. People give the orders, like I didn't know. I knew there were some things you couldn't cross over with. I didn't know that fruits and vegetables was one of those. So that you'd have to go shopping. So you got to have that. Yeah.
Exactly. We can't be hungry.
Yeah, and the second part of that is as the person who's getting in the car. Do you have a routine on eating on race day? Because you have to, you don't want to be having to make the run for the border while you're trying to race.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? I know you probably have it down to a science now, but how do you kind of stay, regular, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. So it's interesting. On Fridays, I work all day and we leave for the track. So, my morning and afternoon are pretty normal, quote unquote. But there is a small little diner on our way to the racetrack that we go to. It's called Gal's Place. It's on the back road on the way to the racetrack. And we always get subs there every week. And they usually have cakes and desserts too, which we may or may not and ice cream, which we may or may not take part in once in a while, but they're just the best subs. So I'll have a sandwich before I race. Usually once I start racing, I'm usually not hungry, and everybody asks if it's because I'm nervous, and it's not really nerves, it's just my comfort zone.
Right.
Once I start racing for the
Yeah.
night, I usually don't have a whole lot to eat. But then once the races are over, I may have that piece of cake that I got at Gal's place on the way.
Yeah, I like it.
um, and on nights that, on days that I don't work and we're headed to the track, I usually try and make sure that we have snacks, fruit tray, vegetables, cold salad, or even a hot meal in a crock pot, just to make sure everybody's fed. And the track food on some nights, some places we go, it's amazing, and we want to have the track food. But lots of times we're just trying to keep the expense down, and we bring our own food and eat what we want out of the trailer.
Right.
Yeah, and along with that, perfect timing for the drink of water. You talked about how hot it gets.
Mhm.
How do you, I know the laps go by fast, but is you're suited up? Are you sweating out so bad? Is it? Do you feel like you're getting dehydrated sometimes? Just trying to keep enough fluids in for what you're doing.
Yeah, in July and August, the hotter months for us, we often the team is often worried about me because I'll sweat, obviously, in the race car and in my fire suit and everything. So as soon as I get out, they're shoveling Gatorade and water at me, like practically pouring it on me. But no, I do my best to always stay really hydrated. I've seen really young, really fit people pass out from heat stroke at the racetrack, even ones that aren't in the race car. I unfortunately experienced one night at a track up here, a gentleman passed out in his car during hot laps.
Oh wow!
And fell on the throttle, and the car was doing donuts, and they couldn't get near it to stop it. So that was a pretty scary thing to watch. And it just makes you appreciate and realize, yeah, I better take care of myself too. I better make sure that I'm full of water and electrolytes and all the things you need to make sure that you're not you're on top of your own game, and you don't endanger somebody else too.
Yeah, and as you say that, I think about people that maybe, have diabetes.
Right.
There are people who, all levels of life, they have had diabetes their whole life, and they have to manage that and make sure that they're hydrated, make sure they have a snack or a piece of
Right.
candy or something, because things can happen. I mean, it can
Absolutely.
happen quickly.
Yep. Yeah. For sure.
So, for you, we talked to Sean about that moment when he saw your car flying through the air or rolling or whatever. There was a couple of times he mentioned, what was that like from your end? And the first time maybe when you had a wreck, for not it was your fault, but somehow something happened and you went for that tumble or went in the air. Take us through that.
Yeah. The first time I actually, that's not the first time I went upside down. I did roll in my 4-cylinder car. Long time ago. It was a fairly gentle roll, so that nothing really noticeable or mentionable about it. The time I flipped in the sportsman car, though, it was a strange experience. I kind of saw it happen, and it was almost like it went in slow motion. I knew as soon as my tires dug in, I knew what was about to happen. And then it happened all very quickly from there. So I was, I guess, lucky in that it launched me in the air. So I didn't hit the ground repeatedly.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty violent launch. And I remember someone once described a flip to me, and they said it was light, and then it was dark, and then it was light, and then it was dark. And I thought, well, that's a really, really strange way to describe something. But that's kind of what it was, really. It was really just disorienting, I think. But
Yeah.
I did land on all 4 wheels, which again was very lucky for me. And I remember sort of taking stock and thinking, okay, I'm alive. I don't think anything hurts, right? You do a quick scan. Does anything hurt? Does anything look out of place? And I seemed fine. And so I started to take my helmet off and get unbuckled. And the safety crew was coming in. It all happened really quickly. And this one guy who I've known for years, and he actually lives quite close to us. He was a tech inspector at the time. He came running over from the infield, and he was white as a ghost. He looked so ill, and he leaned in, and he climbed right up on the side of the car, and he leaned in and he said, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I said, I think so. Yeah, I'm fine. How does the car look? Right? I'm worrying what's going on. What does the car
Yeah,
look like? And he was just terrified. He said that's one of the most violent flips I think I've ever witnessed. And I said, well, I guess I got really, really lucky. But I got out, and of course, you wave and make sure everybody knows that you're okay. I worry the most about my mom, right? Because she worries.
sure.
But she wasn't actually there that night. So I knew that my crew would say, you know what, we know that car is really well put together. She's safe. It's fine. She's talking. It's all good. So, but they load me in the ambulance anyway. They got to check everything out, and
Mhm.
they drive me into the pits. There was another car involved, and I think he had a concussion. Actually, he looked a little bit woozy in the ambulance, but they did end up taking him to the hospital. And I think after they did say he had a concussion, but all's well now. He's back racing. He's fine. But when I was climbing, they dropped me off at my trailer. And as I was climbing out of the ambulance to go to my pit, I smoked my head off of the back door inside
Oh
Oh
the
man.
God.
ambulance. And they said to me, well, make sure you watch your head. It's quite a small opening. I mean, you can't tell, but I'm quite a short person. I'm just over 5 feet tall. So my brain said, oh, it's fine. It can't be that short. No, sure enough, I cleaned myself right out, walked right into the padded overhead
Wow.
part of the ambulance door.
Mhm.
So I think I probably rung my bell harder doing that than I did in the race car. But I bailed out of the ambulance, and Sean looked at me and he said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I said, how's the car? And at that point, they had the car back to the pit, and he said, well, it doesn't look fantastic. But he said, I got you a ride to drive somebody else's car because it was our last points race. So over I went and got in not a stranger. I got in a car of a person, another team that hadn't qualified, and out back I went and raced. So
Awesome.
Great.
And I'm
yeah,
assuming these tracks have to have emergency personnel ready in case there are medicals or something
yeah,
like that, like
yeah.
sporting events of any kind, that they
Yeah.
have to have that.
Yep, they have trained first aid, and they always have an ambulance on site. Usually, it's a transfer ambulance, so there's people trained to deal with things. But then, if you have to go to the hospital, they'll send you in another ambulance. But yeah, they most places, if the ambulance is occupied, they actually won't continue racing until it's free again, just in case something else were to happen.
Here's a question, Dean. I haven't really thought about this, but going down this road of medical and recs and things like that, are there any kind of what do you do when you go to become is each track have, do you sign a waiver at each track, or how does that happen? Because there could be, I mean, it is dangerous. There
Right.
are things that can happen. Tell us about that. Do you sign a waiver for the overall league or each track, or and can they disqualify you if they see something like, hey, you just don't look good, we're not letting you race? Tell us. I've never asked that question though.
That's a great question. So every track that we go to, and I'll be honest, I've never read all the fine print, but when you sign into the pits and pay for your wristband, it's a big disclaimer that says, if you get hurt here, it's not our fault,
Right.
essentially,
Right.
which is understandable. And we do have insurance through our sanctioning body should certain things happen. I've never seen a situation where officials have come over and said, you don't look good, you shouldn't race. I have seen officials say your car is not safe, you can't race. But never from like you look really woozy or something, I've never
Yeah.
never seen that.
If you and here's another one, because you are crossing into another country when you race in the United States. I mean, does insurance from Canada cover you in the U.S.? Or are you having to take out an extra insurance, or you're just hoping nothing happens? I mean, because that is, I know people, missionaries that have got injured overseas, and it was a mess to get them home because of the cost of that. I know it's just across the country line, as we say, the border,
Yeah.
but how does that work?
I'm lucky my insurance does cover me out of country, and the insurance that we purchase through the sanctioning body will also help some coverage. But I do know even with that, it depends on what happens, right? I've known lots of people, unfortunately, that have been injured out of their home country, and it can be really difficult, whether it's racing or playing another sport or just traveling, it can be really costly. So it's one piece of advice: always get travel insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they, because a lot of times, people are traveling and it's so expensive. So sometimes I've known people who have, you know, just sort of wrote it out.
Yeah.
And I can say for the people, the veterans, they always tell the younger ones, don't ever cheat that. Make sure you
No.
have that, because if you have to be medevaced home or something like that, because you're coming to the U.S., but these people might be going to a third world country,
Right.
and you don't want to be operated on there unless it's absolutely necessary
Right.
because of the cleanliness and stuff like that, or just the medical know-how. To be honest, you want to get back home. So even though it's Canada and U.S., there's still things that happen there. Your
That's right.
insurance is different, the way
That's
it's
right.
handled in Canada than mostly it is here. There's a lot of discussion about that. But I just never thought about that. When you doing that, that's another level of something that you have to plan for or make sure of when you cross that border. So interesting. Have you ever thought about, if we, not being political, but have you ever thought about you're in the U.S. racing and all of a sudden they close the border? I mean, like we're not letting anybody in and out. It's kind of like submarine down.
Yeah.
Has that ever crossed your mind? Like when they're talking all this crazy stuff about, Canada becoming the next state and all that. Have you ever thought we might get trapped across the border?
You know what? I've never thought that for a few different reasons, but no, I've never had that concern.
Well, that's good. That's good. Dean, anything?
Are you going to Volusia this weekend?
I'm not going to Volusia this weekend. I am going to go to Alltech Raceway in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, where they're racing February 4th through the 7th. And then the big block modifieds are at Volusia the week after that, but we're headed home. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here's another good one for you. Who's the worst drivers, Canadian or U.S. drivers?
Oh boy, I think that's a tie. I don't think it has anything to do with your country of origin. I think there's just some bad drivers out there.
Right.
Bad drivers, we in the States, we like to pick on the next state,
Right.
It's the next state. What do you expect? They're bad drivers. But I know as you travel, you talked about Charlotte, here, I don't know if Canada's this way, but it seems like the orange barrels just grow, everywhere you go, there's construction going on, and you're trying to pull how long is your trailer that you're pulling all your equipment with?
40 feet.
40 feet. So some of those traveling through cities and stuff can get a little dicey with those small lanes and everything. So,
yes, absolutely.
Is Sean doing the driving? Does he do the driving, or you have somebody else that's taking care of that?
He does a lot of it. I do a lot of it too.
Okay.
Yeah, he and I usually split it. Yeah, everybody on our team can drive and does take turns, but usually it's him or myself.
When you're driving your regular car between stop sign, did you kind of speed a little bit like you do on the racetrack?
Not a lot. I certainly speed. I don't always obey the posted speed limit, but I don't think I speed excessively. I think I speed about as much as everybody else does.
Exactly. They always said there's those people that will obey a speed limit in the Walmart parking lot and those that won't,
That's right.
I think most people break it, honestly,
Yeah.
Drive across the lanes instead of down the lanes. Is there anything we haven't covered? We did ask for about an hour. You've been gracious that we're slightly over. I apologize. You are both Sean and you are both great to talk to.
Yes.
We hope you'll come back. Is there anything you want to share about your team, your career, the season coming up, or anything you can think of we haven't covered? You take all the time you need. We just appreciate you being on.
Of course. Well, I appreciate you guys having both of us. We've both, I think, had a great time, and we would love to come back. The only thing I would say, there's two things. Most importantly, I couldn't do this without my crew and my team and as I say, my family. Sean said last night, we have my mom and dad and he and myself and our two best friends, Jamie and Jen. And it really takes all of us. It takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to race. And I get all the glory in the interviews and the victory lanes and the pictures. But really, I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So I would always like to say a huge thank you to them whenever I have the opportunity. And the 2026 season is just around the corner for us and for a lot of teams in the Northeast. So we are always looking for partners and sponsors, new ones. So that's always a plug I got to put out there, and hope that I can make some new friends through this process. I've made two new friends with you,
Yes.
Dave and Dean, and hope we can get some more followers on social media
That's right.
and share the word about your podcast and about grassroots racing and getting people engaged and back involved with the sport.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Are
you.
both so
Thank you.
gracious, and
Thank you.
we're going to try to share you far and wide with all of our contacts and get those people to do the same thing. Last question, and I asked Sean this last night, and I think he thought of 1,000 things. But if you were queen for a day over all of racing, what rule would you change if that would affect just your level, your class? What would you change? What would you like to see changed in the sport that would just make it even better than it is?
Wow, that's a really tough question. I should have been prepared for that question.
He had to think. Well, he thought of a lot of stuff. I saw smiles break across his face. Like, yeah, there's quite a few things I would like.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot of smaller things to make the sport overall better. I think. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things. I could talk about tech. I could talk about social media. I could talk about young kids and iRacing. I think to me, it's being able to work with suppliers and partners to honestly try and get the cost of racing back down. It's getting to the point where a lot of people can't afford to do it anymore at any level. So how can we help those that help support racing? How can we get more sponsors involved? How can we get suppliers and builders to help bring the cost back down? And I get the cost of everything is going up, parts, supplies, labor, with tariffs on things. It's really hard. But if we want the sport to continue to grow, trying to make those connections and have an influx of new racers, I think that's a big thing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know those are broad questions, but there's probably 1,000 things you can think of as you do that. We so appreciate your time. You are awesome people, and we are honored to have you on. I know me and Dean, we're just like little kids here.
Yeah, we are.
To have you bring this, your experiences and your knowledge about that. And thanks for having fun with us. We like to cut up and have fun too. And, probably the world is too serious sometimes. There's time for serious, but we like to have some fun too. And you're great people. We appreciate it. Folks, give them a like and a follow and a share. In the links for this interview, there will be those the Facebook and Jake has been putting your YouTube out there and promoting it on I think Twitch, and we'll put that in and Rumble, and we'll put that out there for you. And we'll keep pushing your stories and everything as we see things pop up. And absolutely, we'd love to have you back on in the near future. Have a great season. Be safe. Godspeed as you're traveling down here with all the crazy drivers.
And stay warm.
Stay warm.
Yeah, we'll try to stay warm, and I'll send you the links for my merch too, so you can share those as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely want that. We're gonna put on some music and let Miss Jessica get out of here, folks. We'll be right back. We've got a few other little things we want to handle, and Miss Jessica, we'll be talking to you and Sean very soon. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
We
Thank
salute
you guys.
All right, folks, and we'll take her down and let her get out of here, and we'll put on just a little bit of music real quick, and then we'll be right back. And Dean's got some notes I think he wants to share. And we'll show the vault again, because some of you might have missed that. What Dean's vault, things he's brought out of it. He's got like a tractor trailer load after tractor trailer load of stuff in the vault. So we'll never run out of things to show. And we'll be right back. let's get the mic back on, and thank you for just allowing us a quick break. We appreciate so very much.
Oh, yes.
All of the support for the drivers. Please forward out those interviews, not for us, for them, and introduce them to new fans, and maybe there'll be some young person. We do have young people that come into the podcast. We do like anybody, the analytics, and there are a certain segment that is, under the age of 25.
Yeah.
And we have had teenagers to pop in and say, hey, and so male and female, and you just never know who you're going to impact all across the world, really. And just the fact that they can see that, it might cause them to have an excitement about the sport and wanting to get involved. So we appreciate that very much. Well, Dean, let's cover your vault again. Some people might not see that.
Right.
We have Dean to share with us from his vault, Dean's vault, some of the things he has bought over the years. And we have Bill Elliott in a Dodge. I'll get that a little closer so you can see that. How long have you had this one, Dean?
I got it a couple of days ago.
A couple of days. Oh, this is really new.
Yeah.
Really new. Just added to the vault.
Yeah, it was added, yes.
See, the vault never stops. It's not like there's a door on it that says, no more.
No, more.
There's no close forever sign on it.
No.
It just keeps growing, right, Mom? And then we have this nice
Casey
little
Kane
vehicle, Casey Kane. We got the farmers on there, and
yes,
you see the farmers insurance.
Yes,
pretty heavy too. I mean, this ain't cheap Chinesium here. This actually feels like it's got some weight to it. And you said you had this about 10 years?
Yes, I would say 10
something
years.
Like that. It's pretty cool. So
my cousin got it for me for Christmas.
Well, very nice. It's very nice of him to do that. Did you find out bobbleheads? Did you give us?
Yeah,
you're gonna have to bring a bobblehead.
Yes, I got some. I got many bobbleheads.
Many a bobblehead. And let me guess, Taylor Swift is one of them.
No,
right?
no. I got nothing of Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Nothing.
Well, I don't know if I believe that or not.
Like you probably got the books of Taylor Swift, don't you?
No, I don't. You sent me a picture of a book.
Yes, I did. I didn't buy it, but I sent you a picture of it.
We don't know that. That could be in the vault right now. How do we know? We don't know. Dean's Notes brought to you by Wolf Nation Coffees. And we are rebranding. I've just got to find time this week to get. I've talked to them. We've set up the logos. There's a couple things I have to do. We have it all over the site that we have, the Wolf Nation, but the bags themselves, we've got to get that when they make it and bag it, it will have that logo, the Wolf Nation, and we're excited about it. It's the same great coffee, the same great experience. We have tried about 12 different blends out of the more than 40 that we have. Including teas. And so we're working through those ourselves. And I can tell you, I've not tasted a bad one. I have my favorites, and it's really hard. Once you get used to a certain coffee, I do keep trying the new ones, but I so love the house blend, the breakfast blend, and the cowboy blend. It's really hard for me to branch out from there because I like those so very much. And we have ordered the pods. They do offer that. And my wife loved those, for that quick 1 cup of coffee or whatever.
Right.
If you don't have time for a whole pot. So we do have that. And then we also have, we have several affiliates we're working with, but W Energy Drink, I'm drinking it right now. I don't show anything that I don't partake of. And W, go to W and you get 10% off using the promo code Southern Fried. Southern Fried. This is no sugar, no shakes, no crashes, no jitters, no nothing. Just great taste. This is the punch, and it tastes great. I can tell you that. I wouldn't tell you that's not true. I drink them and just put it. I get it in the tub. You just pour it in the water, shake it up, and you're ready to go. So keep it here in the studio because I have water here, and it's great to have. So you'll get 10% off there. They have a lot of cool merch items as well, and they're a lot of fun. They really cater to gamers. I used to be a gamer, not really anymore. I guess I could get into iRacing. Maybe me and Dean need to do that sometime.
I'm a gamer myself.
Are you a gamer? Do you do the iRacing?
I got some racing games, but not iRacing.
What game do you play, Dean?
I got
Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, I got Miss Pac-Man.
Okay,
yes.
I figured. Any shoot 'em games or anything like that?
Yes.
Call of Duty or something like that?
I got Call of Duty. Yes.
Okay, Dean out there taking them down.
Yes. I got
we learn something
PlayStation.
every day. What?
I got NASCAR and PlayStation, dirt racing.
Oh, dirt racing! You got that on the
Yes,
game too.
yes,
Awesome.
yes.
I like it. We'll have to. We need to get video of Dean playing his dirt racing.
You don't want to do that. I don't do good.
You don't do good.
No.
meaning you crash out.
Yes,
Right? Well, that's
yes.
fun part. We get to see how you handle that.
Yes.
Are you racing against other people, computer or
A computer.
a computer?
Yes.
Well, the computer is whipping you.
Yes.
As they say.
Yes.
You'll get better, Dean. You'll get
yes,
better.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Dean's notes. What you got tonight for us? He kind of gave me a preview of
Okay.
a couple things. I'm interested in this.
The IHRA, International Hot Rod Association, Rockingham Speedway was bought by IHRA December 2025. IHRA is owned by Darica Trail. NASCAR previously announced plans to bring both of its national divisions to the Rock again in 2026. Saturday, April 26, 2 p.m. NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, 250 laps, 235 miles. Friday, April 3rd, folks, 2026, 4:30. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, 4:30 p.m. 200 laps, 188 miles at the Rock. Competitors must run VP Racing Fuel, specified by IHRA.
Oh yeah, there's those rules and regulations.
Cars will be late model sportsmen.
All right.
That's going to be in the IHRA in March, when they get going in March.
In March. All right. And just a quick note, Sean has already sent me the merch address for the merchandise.
Good.
For Miss Jessica. We'll get that up. We'll get that up when we put the show out there. We'll make sure that's out there with it. I want to go look myself.
Yes.
Absolutely. What else you got, Dean?
Okay. NASCAR Cup Series points accumulated between 1990 and 1999.
Okay.
Mark Martin, 43,791.
I was always a big Mark Martin fan. I loved watching him race.
Dale Earnhardt, 43,054.
Wow. Okay.
Rusty Wallace, 39,678.
Was you a Rusty Wallace fan?
I like Rusty.
I
yes.
thought you did. Yeah. Well, Rusty's okay.
Dale Jarrett, 38,960.
Okay.
Terry Labonte, 37,696.
Texas Terry.
Ricky Rudd, 36,084. Ken Schrader, 35,932. Bill Elliott, but also Bill, 35,753.
Oh, he slipped off them 80s there, so he
Yes.
not quite as much, but still out there getting it done.
Starting Marlin, 35,551.
From the great state of Tennessee, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Columbia, Tennessee.
Columbia, Tennessee.
Jeff Bodine, 32,904.
Yeah.
Legacy Motor Club news. Justin Alexander named crew chief for number 43. Ben Bayshore to transition to director of race engineering.
Nice. Okay.
The Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, will sponsor the American 250 Florida deal at Daytona, February 12th, 2026.
Okay.
Did you hear about the Hall of Fame?
I did not.
Greg Biffle did not make it in Hall of Fame.
Well, I guess even though he passed, there was a lot of but just tell me that the flagman didn't get in ahead of him.
No.
Okay.
It was Harry Gant,
He deserved it. Harry Gant deserved it.
Kurt Busch,
yes. Not a fan, but he deserved it.
and Humpy Miller.
And I said he deserved it. He's done a lot for the sport. So the flagman has to wait. Biffle will be there. That's going to happen. But it was so close to that. I'm glad. I'm really glad at that. Even though some people say just go ahead and do it. There were people that's they deserve it too.
Right.
And I'm glad. We said when we went through the list that was probably the ones that deserved it that you mentioned.
Right. Harry Gant deserved it.
Oh, absolutely.
Humpy Miller deserved it.
Yeah.
Kurt Busch, okay.
Yeah. I get it, but he was around the sport for a long time.
Yeah, right.
So yeah. By the way, we're going to have a new feature when we just got so much going on. I was telling Dean about it. If you don't follow Wood Button on social media, on Facebook, you need to. He talks a little racing, but he really talks about his farm. And
Yeah.
I always loved his accent anyway,
I
his
do too.
Southern accent. And he is great. I just love watching him. He's
Right,
always on the
right,
farm. He's giving
right.
tips and he's staying active. And so we're going to start trying to highlight some of that in the show in a portion, in
Right.
a section of it. Ward Burton. Always liked him.
I do too.
I don't know how many races he ever won. He won a few,
Uh-huh.
but I don't think he ever won a championship.
I didn't know he didn't.
But I always liked Ward Burton. He was always great for an interview.
Oh, he was.
And he was always glad to give that interview.
He does. He is.
You know, so I think
he
that
still
will be
comes. He still comes on TV every now and then.
Yeah, he still
On
does.
Racing America. He's got a little segment on there every week.
Okay. I think more than ever before, which we talked about it with Sean, was because of all the TV and the coverage.
Right.
Maybe people sit at home and watch a lot. There are a lot of options. Now, some of that is free. Some of it you have to pay for.
Right. Yes.
The Flow TV or whatever. There's a lot of options out there.
Yes.
But all these drivers, basically at all these tracks, most of them or many of them, especially these big events, there's going to be somebody there filming that or going live or whatever.
Right.
So you get a chance to see that. I don't know if you've ever seen, and we have followed each other podcast to podcast, but I got to watch one, I think it was the week before. And it's the guy that photobombs he photobombs all the pictures,
Uh-huh.
but he raises money selling shirts to put back into the racing sport to help racers in need and families and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that was a great interview. I really enjoyed that. And he's been going to tracks for 40 years. He's a fan. And he has went to over, when you add all the tracks that he's ever been to,
Uh-huh.
there's something crazy like 35,000 times he has been to a track. That's crazy. But he just goes all the time. He stays on the road and he goes. He's a huge fan. And I found that was interesting.
It is.
There is a lot, and we've been networking with some of those folks that have different levels of podcast all the way to the full-on TV show.
Right.
And they're all very supportive, and we want to just help in our way over here. Thanks for watching the show, and thanks for
Right,
forwarding
thank
it
you.
out, and it helps us. And we're having fun, and we're going to keep having fun. And we're really not even at the end of year one.
No, we
yet,
ain't.
But hey, we were talking in the break. The racing is just around the corner in
Yeah.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
We're 12 days away from the first
The clash at Bowman Gray,
the Clash, and we're less than 30 days away from
the Daytona 500.
the Daytona 500.
27 days.
I cannot believe it. And we said, once we covered the championship, how quickly that would go by.
Yes.
But I also did see that, that they're not sitting around like Kyle Larson. He was
Right.
racing. He didn't win, though.
Yes.
At the Chili Bowl. He didn't win.
yes. Yes.
He
Yes.
came in fourth, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, gals, they're going out racing at different kinds of different classes of racing, so they're staying active in that. And that's hard to fit in with
It
all
is.
the testing and stuff you've got to do to get your car ready for the new season. But here we are, and I can't wait. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll try to fit in a kind of a preview of the 2026 season for NASCAR.
Yes.
And look at the changes of the cars, the color
Yeah,
schemes,
yes.
who's got who. We'll kind of go down that list. We'll start that leading up to the
Yeah.
Daytona 500.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And try to split it up and get it in. So we're almost to the point we're going to have 3 shows,
Right.
which is a good problem to have, being dirt, NASCAR, and whatever else racing, and
Right.
then, sports as well.
Like drag racing.
Drag racing, we're going to have to start covering that too because we want to.
Yes.
But shout out. We went off last night. The game was on. Shout out for a sports side for the Indiana Hoosiers
yeah.
for winning the national championship.
Hoosiers can.
They-
Remember, I told you.
Yeah.
Miami got beat.
That's right. The Marine was picking Miami. Hey, they could have won that game.
Yeah, they could.
A perfect season. That doesn't happen very often, and it was the school's first ever in
Right.
football.
It was.
Shout out to those young men. It was a hard fought game.
Yeah.
It was a really close game, and that's what you want. People just say, "Don't give me a blowout." For all the teams that probably didn't deserve to be in the playoff, these two definitely did,
Yes.
and they showed up and played a great game. So we close out the books on that. The NFL is we've got the conference championships, and we're just around the corner from the Super Bowl. All the footballs we going out, and we're left. We got hockey and basketball. Racing's coming back on, and
Yes.
before you know it,
Oh, yeah. Already.
it'll be spring training for. We're just around the corner from pitchers and catchers.
Yeah.
All that reporting to spring training in
Yes.
Florida and Arizona, and we'll be doing our Braves report. Dave
Yes.
does the Braves report for that. And it just gets better and better.
It does.
That's not proper English, but it's good for us.
Oh no, it is for us.
It is
For
fantastic.
North Georgia.
When we started this, we didn't have any idea what we were getting into,
No, we
but
didn't.
it has turned into something really special. And we thank you, because without you, it
Right.
just wouldn't be there. But thank you for those that stop by for one show, 1 hour, once a month, or you watch every show. We appreciate that. I know life is busy, and we thank you very much. Dean, thanks for
Thank
everything,
you.
buddy. Bringing that vault
I
stuff
don't
out.
mind it. I love it. I love it.
And soon, and very soon, he'll bring out the Taylor Swift.
I don't have nothing.
Bobblehead.
I don't have nothing to Taylor Swift. My throat is cracking.
And,
I don't have nothing.
He's probably got a bobblehead Bubba Wallace.
No, I don't have that.
Yeah, I probably got that.
You probably do.
I might. He's on the Bubba train.
No, yeah, right. I done told you, Bubba Trey's gonna hit the ball this year.
Well, he might, but if he does, he's going to take out Casey Kane with him. I mean, Chase
Chase-
Elliott's what I
No,
meant to say.
no.
And so he can't win either.
Yeah,
Oh well, that's our show for a special on Tuesday night. For those that usually tune in and watch the pet show, that's going to be Thursday. It really worked out. Pardon me. This weather is rough on us.
Oh, yeah.
Both of our voices were battling.
yeah.
But Miss Jen was traveling today a lot, and so it really worked for her and for me to move
Right.
that show to Thursday, 6 p.m. for that. Paul is. I'll be right. I'll be
Uh-oh.
right there.
She fell.
All right, I'm a boy. And we'll see you next time. And thanks for. I got to go help my wife, and we appreciate you very much. Take care, my friends, and we'll see you soon.
Dave and Dean roll each week, spin the wheels, engines speak, tracks of fire, dust and smoke, southern skies, the throttles choke. Fast and fierce, racing souls, tearing through the endless cold. Twisting metal, thunder growls, screams of tires, dirt that scowls. Cranking loud, boys, let it blast. Roads of fury racing fast. Southern pride racing hours here. Fuel the fire, shift the gear. Every lap a rebel's dream. Gasoline, hearts and the scream. Dave and Dean crown the track. Each corner fight, ain't turning back. Crank it loud, boys, let it blast. Roads of fury racing fast. Southern pride racing hours here. Fuel the fire, shift the gear. Nights alive, wheels embrace, burn the streets, set the pace. Hours, speed's the creed. Southern fried racing breed. Southern fried racing hours here. Fuel the fire, shift the gear. Nights alive, wheels embrace, burn the streets, set the pace. Hours, speed's the creed. Southern fried racing breed. Lots of loud, boys, let it blast.